Schools across the country are expected to reopen in phases from June 1st. Teachers will report to schools on May 25th, but are our schools, pupils and staff ready for this? We're joined now by our reporter at Kwazi Mshengu, Karinda Jagmohan, to give us a sense and an overview of the state of schools in the province. Karinda, good morning to you. Tell us about what the schools in KwaZulu-Natal are like at this point of time in terms of preparedness and readiness.
Good morning to you. Yes, indeed. Now, you must remember that KZN is the highest contributor to national statistics in terms of the number of schools and pupils. We have over 2.8 million school pupils and over 6,000 schools, over 5,000 of them being public schools. Now, to talk more about this, I'm joined by the KZN Education MEC, Kwazi Mshengu. Thank you, MEC, for speaking to Newzroom Africa this morning. What is your opinion? Are schools beneath the KZN province ready to open come 1st June, MEC?
We are working hard, obviously, to ensure that our schools, all of our schools in KZN are ready to receive learners on the 1st of June. But our target, obviously, is that all the essentials and non-negotiables are in place by the end of this week, so that by the time teachers come to school next week, they find our schools ready for them, as well as for the learners on the 1st of June. We have worked as a department to procure the essentials, and I'm comfortable that we have done necessary arrangement as well as putting the systems in place. Currently, we are busy chasing out the delivery of these non-essentials to district offices as well as schools. I do also want to thank all the partners in the sector, the stakeholders, the unions, the SGPs, for the great work that we are doing together, because we all agree that we are in this thing together. The debate on whether or not to open the schools is now water under the bridge. We are now working on ensuring that each and every school in KZN is compliant with all the non-negotiables. And we have really been an open book to say everyone who wants to go to monitor our schools, whether or not we are able to comply, that person is free to do so. But I am quite confident that come the 1st of June, our schools will be ready to receive all the learners.
MEC, speak to us about funding, because earlier we saw the KZN Premier directly appeal to the President for funding in the sector ahead of reopening of schools. What has the response been there? Does our department have enough money going forward to ensure the safe reopening?
Well, we don't have money as a Department of Education in KZN. It's a matter that we have been complaining about even before COVID-19. It's becoming worse now, and the President committed that they will relook into the matter. The Minister yesterday was briefing us that they are taking up the matter with the President. For now, what we have done, obviously, is to reprioritize within the baseline, take some money from the allocated projects that we wanted to implement this year, and those now will be kept in abeyance because we have had to rechannel the funding to the COVID-19 essentials, so that our schools are safety, because that's where we premium safety first for learners as well as the educators. So we have had really to put some projects in abeyance, so that those monies that were allocated to such projects are used in the meantime to procure these essentials. We have also been assisted by the National Department of Education, working with the National Department of Water and Sanitation in terms of the provision of static water tanks. The provision which has actually started in the province. Yesterday I was in King Cetshwayo to monitor and inspect the work that has been done, and I was quite pleased really to see the fact that where there are no running water in our schools, we have been able to put some water tanks, static water tanks, but also all our schools in KwaZulu-Natal, they will be provided with 5 hand washing stations per school, so that we allow learners to be able to regularly wash their hands, and they are also clearly marked so that we ensure social distancing between the learners as they wash their hands. So we are quite pleased with the progress that has been done. Obviously, there are schools where the movement has not been satisfactory, but we are following up to ensure that by the end of this week, at least we give them a positive response to the public that almost all our schools are ready. But that said, I can assure you, come the 1st of June, our schools, all of them will be ready in KZN.
MEC, water scarcity has been one of the concerns, but we also saw vandalism at some of our schools. Tell us about the progress with that regards. Have we seen more schools being vandalized? Have we seen more arrests being made? What's happening there?
Well, yes, more schools have been vandalized, and we are sitting just over 400 schools that have been broken into in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. So far, if my memory serves me well, we have about 28 suspects that have been arrested. And we're working now with the police as well as the prosecuting authority. There's been a provincial committee that has been formed, composed of DOE, Department of the Police, rather, as well as the Department of Justice, to look specifically into this case and how to break them through so that we start seeing prosecution, we start seeing arrest, because that's where we are going to start sending a strong message. But in terms of the impact, the more they break schools, the more they put more strain on the finances of the department, because instead of us going forward now, we have to go back to revamp and revitalize these schools, and it's taking us back. And that's why we continue to call on the communities to stop harboring these criminals, isolate them, and give necessary information to the law enforcement agencies. But we equally want to thank all the committee members who have assisted us in the arrest of these 28 suspects, because without them, we could not have been able to arrest them.
Finally, MEC, and just briefly, what is other personal concerns with regards to reopening schools, especially the infection of children perhaps from other areas going into schools?
Well, it will be difficult really to speak conclusively about the conduct of a learner outside the school premises. That is why we've always been calling parents and committee members that they should work with us in protecting these learners. I can almost say that our schools will be the safest place to be compared to the streets and probably some of the places where learners find themselves in when they are not in schools. What is important is that parents must ensure that when learners are out of schools, they are indoors, they are not roaming around in areas that are posing risk to them, so that they don't contract virus outside and bring it back into the school premises. We want to make sure that our schools really are the safest place. That is why we are providing sanitizers, we are providing masks for these learners as well as educators. Our schools will be sanitized every day. Every day there will be screening of learners and teachers and everyone who come to school. So even the knowledge, which is important in the fight against this COVID, because most of the people still have a very dim understanding of this virus. What we have done is that every day there will be lessons around COVID-19, how to protect yourselves, how to protect other people, what you should do when you get at home. So these learners will not only be within the safe environment in school premises, but they will be imparted with knowledge that is necessary for them to fight against this COVID-19.
Thank you very much. Our KZN Education MEC, Kwazi Mshengu, speaking to Newzroom Africa, and as well as revealing to us that over 400 schools have been vandalized in KZN since the start of lockdown, 28 suspects arrested. But going forward as well, schools in KZN are readying itself, preparing to reopen on the 1st of June, especially for grade 7s and grade 12s, and he assures the safe reopening going forward.